Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media used found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings.
Hey guys, so she's back. She has come back with a bang, hasn't she? She has upset Camilla already. She has posted pictures on Instagram by her personal photographer. Apparently she had and I quote, a secret visit to the National Theatre. There's nothing secret about it when you take your own personal photographer with you. And basically she insisted, it's been reported that Meghan went against protocols. She went against pleads from courtiers and palace officials. Please do not release any pictures on Friday. It was a very important day for Camilla, who had been planning a speech to do with domestic violence for the last year. But of course, Meghan, she has to be Queen Bee, doesn't she? She has to literally have the centre of attention on her, from anything from Princess Eugenie's wedding, the pregnancy announcement, the Megxit button being hit the day before Catherine's birthday celebrations, which had been planned. She just has to be the star of the show. This is why she probably never would have settled in the royal family anyway. She, like Princess Anne, is one of the few royals that I don't think you want to be on the wrong side of, especially she's married to Charles, that does hold the purse strings. But the Queen and Charles have known about Meghan doing this sort of behaviour for so long, and yet she still keeps her titles and she's allowed to swan in and swan out. What this is, this goodbye tour, is not a goodbye tour. It is basically the last Meghan show as her being a royal. Apparently her clothing budget is already nearly £13,000 in the last 2 days. That's not counting new jewellery, which goes into thousands in itself. One bracelet in particular was like near enough £10,000. So she's still got this endless pot of money. Obviously this is deemed as royal engagement, so I don't know if Charles will be picking this up. She's having one last hurrah. So the first pictures that got released of Meghan were her coming out of the Goring Hotel, and didn't she look like the cat that got the canary? The grin was so big she reminded me of the Joker out of Batman. She looked like if she grinned any more that her face was going to basically fall apart. She looked incredibly happy to have been papped. Naturally the photographers were ready and waiting for them. The newspapers online did run the story initially that it's £8,000 a night to stay there. They did imply that Harry and Meghan were staying there, which obviously has caused a few people on social media to kick up. These suddenly got changed later on as the day went on, and all of the newspapers changed their online headlines, and they were just saying that they went for lunch. Whether this was a breach in protocol security because they've just basically announced to the world where Harry and Meghan were staying, or whether it was not a true story. But as I said, they changed the story. It put noses out of joint, because obviously they're in Windsor. They've got Frogmore Cottage, the taxpayer-funded house that they said they want to keep. The pictures that I saw of them coming out were quite amusing. There's been a few memes put on social media because the hotel staff don't look too happy. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised that people aren't exactly happy to see Meghan after the way that, well, Harry as well, the way that they've treated the Queen. This is also one of the Queen's favourite places to have lunch, so they are obviously probably very loyal to the Queen. So you can understand why they were probably let's just batter them with the brolly. Let's move the brolly out of the way. Let them get wet. The next bunch of pictures that we saw of them, funny enough, it was still raining. Welcome to the UK. There was an amazing picture. Whilst I said that I'm not a Harry and Meghan fan, there was a beautiful picture done by Essam Hussein. He captured, it is an absolutely stunning photograph, even if you don't like Harry and Meghan, with the rain coming down. It was all backlit, probably from other photographers' camera flashes. And yeah, I just really like the picture. It reminds me of the one of Catherine and William walking down the plane steps when they arrived in India, the backlit one where the photographer was actually behind them. So as they arrived, it was clearly obvious to me that there was massive crowd control put in place. I think that there would have been a lot more boos. There was a massive boo, but there was also a woman screaming, "Woo! Woo!" like she was some sort of foghorn. I guess she was the one paid to counteract the man that was boo. Here's a quick clip of that. Not quite the welcome home that I'm sure that they had expected. I liked the colour of that dress on her. I wish that she'd worn more brighter colours when she attended royal family sort of get-togethers, especially Trooping of the Colour, you know, when she looked like she was going to a funeral. This colour really suited her. She looked polished. She finally had her hair tied back, and I don't understand why she couldn't have done that on half the royal engagements. But then I have my theory about that, as you guys know. I think she deliberately did stuff to attract negative publicity so she could play the victim, so she could leave the royal family quickly and blame everyone else. But that's another video, which I'm sure you've probably all seen. But that's just my thoughts on that one. I like the dress. It's Victoria Beckham. This is probably why she's been sucking back up to Victoria Beckham after accusing her of previously leaking stories, which apparently caused a rift between Harry and David Beckham. I have to say the pictures showed Meghan's love of the cameras has definitely not faded. One shot where she looked like she was going to snap her neck if it had turned around anymore. She certainly dragged Harry around, that's for sure, pulling him away from speaking to people. This one particular clip, very short, show you now, shows her Harry going to shake someone's hand, and she literally tugs him. She will not let go of him, and she leans backward to pull him away. I just let go of him. He was going to shake someone's hand. She's just so bloody rude. She walks in front of him the entire time. She signed the book first, and then you can see her handing him the pen, like, you know, it's your turn now, darling, you can go. I still think this is a very controlling and toxic relationship, but this is Harry's choice. The pictures that were shown of them smiling lovingly together, and there's been stories in the newspaper about how they're back in their honeymoon phase. They're so in love, they're so in love, so fake. I don't think it looks natural personally, especially when you look at the latest pictures of William and Catherine touring Ireland. This is a couple that have genuine love and admiration for each other, whereas Meghan, I think, is still basically just acting badly. So on to the Endeavour Awards. Naturally, Meghan gave a speech and handed out an award, as did Harry. Harry gave a speech. He has been picked apart by his speech, however, because he basically said, I've always got your back. Once you've served in the military, you serve for life. It's no one understand. I understand how hard it is hanging up your uniform, but he also made it a bit about him, about how, you know, he's finding it hard. And I'm sorry, Harry, but if you found it that hard, where were you at that Marine memorial concert for the 11 men that lost their lives? You were at the Lion King concert pimping your wife to Bob Iger to get her voiceover work. So obviously he's been pulled apart by the newspapers for that. There was, however, a very, very nice story that did come out of the Endeavour Awards. Danny Holland, a massive congratulations to him and his now fiancée, Lauren Price, who got engaged on stage after Danny received his reward. Even celebrity hard man Ross Kemp got choked up in the moment. If you look past Meghan, Ross Kemp used to play Grant Mitchell in EastEnders. You see he's got tears in his eyes. Danny had just delivered a speech discussing mental health difficulties he suffered after being hit by an explosive device whilst he was serving in Afghanistan. I know personally from having friends that served that just because you cannot see injuries doesn't mean that they are not there. I really wish Harry had done more or stayed in the royal family, because he could have used his military career to really work alongside Catherine with the mental health support. Obviously Catherine is going more towards like the children and helping, basically mental health from children starts at a young age, and she's really pushing for that. And Harry could have used his military ranks and really pushed for the same sort of service to be offered more to ex-military personnel, because once they leave the army they don't have as much support as I would like personally to see them to have. But sadly with Harry, everything is shoulda, woulda, coulda. He has chosen to leave the military, leave all of this behind, leave his family, leave his country, because he wants to be Hollywood Harry. These are all his choices. I think he will regret them, but he's made his bed, he's got to lie in it. So I don't know if these pictures were taken after the awards or before, when Harry and Meghan were mingling, but even the media picked up on this. If you haven't seen my video Love or Loathe, I'll put a link in the description. If you look at it around about, it's 9 minutes and 40 seconds, so you can skip the video if you don't want to watch the whole thing. I've put a montage in there of all of the times that Meghan uses basically control over Harry. She does a tap on the back when she wants to go first. You know, obviously she pushes herself into conversation conversations and she shuts Harry down. It is a control tactic. It's very narcissistic, but there is a clip here that even Rebecca English, she picked up on it, and newspapers have run stories on it. She literally, in this clip, as you can see, Harry is talking to a woman and Meghan does her hand on the back technique, but she went further. She snaked her hand up his back, grabbed hold of his shoulder and basically pulled him out of the way. If you look at the video properly, rewind it a couple of times, you'll see that Harry literally has to kind of like hot step to keep his balance, because she's literally grabbed hold of him and turned him away so she can then cut through his conversation with this woman and go talk to someone on the other side. It's unbelievably rude, it's controlling, it's rude to other people that Harry was talking to, but it does shut Harry down. Some people have defended this, saying that, oh yeah, well, you know, he's going to introduce his wife naturally, it's being polite. This isn't introducing your wife. They literally should go around, speak to people. Harry speaks to some people. Look at the way Catherine and William behave, and then they can do the tour of the room again, anyone that they missed. Meghan could have literally gone around the other side of Harry and spoken to that gentleman, but no, she deliberately grabbed hold of him, cut through the middle of him and basically pulled him out of the way. So she shuts down the conversation. I do believe this is why we see so much of Harry waiting in the wings. Even I believe it was Getty Images posted a picture and it said underneath it was Meghan Markle with her husband in the background, not even called Prince Harry. You know, she is very much the star of the show. She very much wears the trousers in this relationship. I do think if the roles had been reversed, there would be a lot more to be said about their relationship. I believe that if we'd seen Jack come along and treat Princess Eugenie like this, if Eugenie had been a working royal, but if we'd have watched basically a role reversal of a man pushing the princess, the royal-blooded princess, out the way and taking her away from her friends and her family, and just this general control thing that Meghan's got all over Harry. Again, I think that men basically do not have the same protection that women do. I am going to do a video on this because there's been a lot of subjects that have been raised, and it does tack on to Camilla's speech where she spoke about domestic violence. It does seem to be still very much one way. Men get beaten, men get in abusive relationships, and I don't believe that Harry is in a safe, loving, normal relationship from everything that we see. Many have deemed Meghan to be Harry's saviour. She has saved him from a life of oppression, but I think that we can all see that she's not saved him from anything. She's basically taken him away and she's going to use him as her cash cow for as long as that may last. The fact that the Queen has taken away the Sussex royal, well, the royal bit anyway, yeah, I just can't see this marriage lasting long. I don't wish divorce on anyone. It's a horrible, nasty thing, but I just don't see them. I don't see this couple as a happy, healthy relationship. That's my personal opinion. So after they left the awards, yet again, they were not met with cheers and screams of adoring fans like they once used to get. I do believe there was crowd control. However, this time it was quite funny. It seems that a bunch of drunken football fans were basically shouting when Harry and Meghan came out, and I believe that they were trying to sing Come On Eileen, but they changed it to Come On Harry and seemed to forget the lyrics. But here's a clip of it. It's quite funny. But also notice there was nothing for Meghan, was there? There was no screams for Meghan. How's she doing? There's, you know, it's basically they were just shouting and hollering for Harry. I do believe, as I said, massive crowd control, because I think that Meghan is very disliked in the UK at the moment. I think we're going to see a lot of crowd control in the coming days. So basically people can't really, I think there'd be a lot of boos. Now she's become that awful pantomime villain and people are not happy with the treatment of the Queen. Both of them, how they've treated the Queen, if I'm honest. So I did try and get some more information on Sophie's Sudan trip, but unfortunately there's not a lot of coverage on it. I really hope that royal reporters or newspapers will, now that Harry and Meghan are leaving at the end of March, will start investing more money on covering more of what Sophie does. Reason being is Sophie is very, very well liked. I think that the royal family could do with a massive boost. And speaking of boost, everyone was really happy with that short clip I showed of that gentleman, Harry Billinge, receiving his MBE at the end of the last video. So I thought what I'll do is, if I talk about Harry and Meghan, I'm going to end the videos on basically something a little bit nicer at the end. So here's a bit of footage of Catherine greeting crowds, taking flowers off people in Ireland.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you for your flowers. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Thank you for coming. Are you all local to here? Yes, we are. All local. Everyone warned us of the rain. And the celebration. We're all for having a nice time. Thank you. You have to get my cake. Thank you.
Every time I see Catherine greeting crowds and stuff, all I can hear is that song playing over in my head. Isn't she lovely? She really is. She comes across so nice, so genuine with people. And finally, to finish up this video, here is a video clip of Prince William juggling. Yes, he has skills that none of us knew about. But it has been said that Meghan also knows this skill because this is what she does with Harry's balls on a regular basis. So that's it for me on this video. I will be back next week with some more videos. So I'll speak to you guys very soon.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers the time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.